For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
And welcome to another edition of the Focus program. January is coming along, and I saw sun for about 7 minutes the other day. Yeah, 7 or 8 minutes. Welcome back. A warm person to warm up January, Ms. Deb Johnson, Executive Director of the St. Clair County Community Mental Health. Great organization, lots of people. You've got new facilities in Marine City. You got facilities around the rest of the county. But talk to me about making resolutions and getting started in January when it's terrible.
I know, it kind of is a hard time, isn't it, to do that? But maybe we should start doing it halfway through the year, like in June 1st. That could be like the mid-year, New Year resolutions.
Yeah.
But at any rate, you know, people tend to want to start off a new year with some resolutions. And typically they're lose weight, get in shape, save your money, get out of debt, keep your house more organized, different things like that. And so one of the things we say is that every day is an opportunity to make a change, right? Every day of the year. So you don't have to wait for January 1st, and we're a little beyond that anyways, but that's fine. Set a goal for yourself and try to achieve it. But also pick a reasonable goal. Don't pick, I want to lose 100 pounds in the next 30 days, because that's not going to happen.
Right.
But, I want to lose, 10 pounds, or be practical, be reasonable. And then don't beat yourself up if you slip up. So, you're supposed to be eating healthy, and one day you have a hot fudge sundae, and you're like, and then you beat yourself up. Don't do that. Give yourself some grace, and just hop back on the wagon the next day. Start eating healthy again. Do your walking, and same for that. If you're going to exercise, start little. Walk a couple of times a week, and I guess right now for us it's been hard to be outside because it's been very cold. But walk around the house, go to the gym, walk at the mall.
And I was going to say, a lot of people go up to Birchwood Mall and walk up there. The school, St. Clair High School, used to have a program where you could walk in the building. I don't know if that's still active or not, but
I don't know if it is either.
Because they're under construction, they might not be.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure.
There are places you can walk.
I did see something recently that was opened up for like a warming center in St. Clair. What was it? I can't think of it. But anyways, indoor places like that, any indoor place, walk. I mean, you go to Meijer and walk around Meijer. I mean, take your basket. Maybe you pick up an item or two, but any of that kind of stuff. So those are good things. And one of the things you could start the Couch to 5K. Because we have our annual run coming up in May. It's May 11th. It's always the second Saturday in May, which is also Mother's Day weekend. We know, but bring your mom out for a nice walk. Spend some time with her.
Mom walk the 5K.
No, mom can just walk a mile if she wants, or whatever, or run a 5K. My mom loves doing all the walks, and she's 85. So
wonderful.
Yeah, so she'll be there. But at any rate, that could be a good goal, to get yourself. You don't have to run the 5K. You could if you wanted, though, or you could just come and walk. But that's one of our events we do every year, and we'll be talking about that in future episodes.
Make the commitment now, and then be ready for May the 11th.
Yeah, you got a lot of time. A lot of time. Even if you slip up a little bit, it's okay.
Okay.
So anyways, and then, at CMH, we have a lot of people, we've been pushing integrated healthcare for a long time. That is our philosophy, is to provide good integrated healthcare, meaning that we look at the person's mind and body because we know it's connected. And if you're having, mental health struggles, sometimes it can affect your physical health and vice versa. Physical conditions can affect your mental health. So we have a lot of programs at CMH that can also help you with your New Year's resolutions, perhaps. Like we have an In Shape program, which has trainers and works with folks who have, one of 5, really almost any medical issues like obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular, things like that. And so that's one of our good programs. And then we have nutrition classes, and we have cooking classes, a lot of wellness-focused classes. So those are some of the things that we do there.
And the cooking thing's been with you for a long time.
Yeah, and it was more the galley. It was called the Galley, and it was like a restaurant. We actually are leasing the galley out to Touchstone. It's our.
Oh yeah. Okay.
They run our clubhouse, and they will be doing basically the same thing, using it to train people on learning culinary arts and the related skills. And then they'll also sell food to the people in our building or people who come into the building. But we are doing homestyle cooking classes in our newly refurbished Broadway location in Marine City. That was the building we were going to sell when we bought the King Road building. But because of the continued growth, we kept Broadway. And so that there will be a variety of community groups there, more to follow on that because I don't have all the details. But definitely there'll be cooking classes, homestyle cooking classes. We have a kitchen in there, and we'll be teaching people that. And another in-shape program, that same program I was just talking about with exercise.
So when the next couple of months that'll happen, or?
Yeah, it's going to open actually the end of this month or the very beginning of February. Probably the next time I come here, I'll have an open house date for you for people to come in and check it out.
That was a great building.
Well, and it's even greater now because we have all new flooring, all new windows, all new paint. So yeah, it looks good. So,
good.
Yeah.
Good. That's great.
So we're excited about that.
Good news for Marine City.
It is, and we didn't. I don't know if I mentioned this, but we didn't realize about 30 to 40 people that we provide services to in Marine City, like therapy services, used to walk to the building. And then we moved out to King Road and they can't walk. And there's no public transportation. So transportation's been an issue. So those people will be able to be seen at the Broadway location again. We'll switch that all back.
So that's what they call a win-win.
It is a win-win, so we're excited about it.
Oh, that's super.
Yeah.
That's super. All right. Now I've got January Park. Why did I have that down?
I think you have dark.
Oh, dark.
Just
dark.
Because
park.
January is kind of dark and dreary.
Dark and bark.
Dark and bark. But yeah, we wish it was sunshiny for parks, but like you opened the show with, we had about 7 minutes of sunlight.
Right.
So in January, it tends to be, and maybe December too, we've had a lot of rainy days, which we don't normally have, but we have cloudy days, less sun, so less sunlight, things like that. And even reduced sunlight, even if the sunlight was there, the shorter days.
Yes.
We're not getting nearly as much as we get in the summertime.
It starts to get dark about 5:15.
Yeah, and that affects us. It affects your whole body, and what time you think you should go to sleep, and so and also for some people they just feel more. It's not like clinical depression, but it's you're just not real happy, and your mood is depressed, and maybe you have some more anxiety, but it's just boring. You maybe get a little more disconnected because you're not going out like you would in the summer. You might go for a walk after dinner. Well, now it's dark and cold, and you're like, ugh. But anyways, yeah. So all those things can disrupt our sleep patterns, our eating patterns. Our social interaction, any of those things, and so we have to, make conscious efforts to, reach out to other people and kind of stay connected. And if there is sunlight, even if it's freezing cold, try to get out and get some of that, and try to get out and get a little fresh air, even if it's
cold air,
cloudy, cold air. Don't overdo it though if it's freezing cold, because that can be dangerous too. But just try to do a little bit, and but try to stay connected with people too. And sometimes, the mood shift in the wintertime might affect people's productivity at work. Mm-hmm. And for that, we just developed a really cool new thing for employers. It's like a toolkit for employers and employees. You can go on our website, and it's you look at the education and outreach tab, and there's a section, and it's a workplace toolkit for employers, but also employees would benefit from the materials that are in there. So we had previously created that for schools. So there's a school toolkit for educators, administrators in the schools, and they found that to be helpful. So we did the same thing for employers. So we hope people will check that out.
And just go to the website. It's free?
Yep, it's all free. sccmh.org, and then you just go to the Education and Outreach tab, and you'll see it, and just click on it and get in there and look at all the stuff. You can always like us on Facebook too. We put a lot of resources out on Facebook, a lot of tips, strategies for wellness, and just being overall better.
Okay, all right. Face Off for Mental Health.
Yes, that is a really cool thing. I'm going to leave this stack of cards, and hopefully all your guests will take one and bring some friends to this event. So this is a hockey game here in Prowlers. It's March 15th, And so the Prowlers actually approached us about doing a partnership. They've been trying to do community things, like to raise awareness about important issues. Like they do one for taking a shot at breast cancer too. It's called Pink the Rink, and I believe that's March 9th. But this face-off for mental health will be March 15th. We're gonna have a lot of giveaways, including clappers. You know, those clappers. And one side of the hand is going to have information about how you access our services, and the other side will have stuff about the Blue Water chapter of NAMI.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I think I mentioned NAMI here recently.
Yep, NAMI on the back here.
Yeah, National Alliance for the Mentally Ill. It started as a grassroots effort, but it's a national organization now that provides support to families and friends of people with mental health issues, and it also supports people with mental health issues. So there's trainings that are happening. In fact, we have one coming up. It's called Peer to Peer. So we have people that have lived experience, meaning they have received mental health services, they have mental health diagnoses, but they're in recovery, and they were trained to help other people get into recovery.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah, and so
I've been there. I know what you're going through.
Yep, it's exactly that. And so we have an 8-week session starting January 30th. You can find out more information on our website. You can call us up if you can't find it. And it's not mental health doing it. It's the NAMI group doing it, but we are helping get things off the ground, and we'll make sure that people get connected if they're interested.
Prowlers is lots of fun. And
Tickets
this is a mental health awareness night with the Port Huron Prowlers on the 15th of March. So you got plenty of time to get involved in that. And it's just a fun thing to do. Go see a hockey game.
And we're going to be selling tickets because the Prowlers let us keep a certain percentage of the tickets we sell of the proceeds.
Okay.
So, which all proceeds from this event, there'll be 50-50 drawing. There'll be some other fun kinds of things happening.
Oh.
Some games in between the periods.
Yeah.
And just
you going to put skates on?
I think I might get to be on the ice for something. I'm not going to spill the beans yet. Hopefully they put a carpet so I don't fall. But I do know how to ice skate. But anyways, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Bring the family. Tickets are only $15. Actually, maybe we might sell them for $14 just to give a little break.
Yeah.
So if people want tickets, call me,
Okay.
text me, whatever. Okay?
All right. That's
All right.
fun. That's fun. And I will pass these out.
And then, of course, you'll pass these run things out.
Yep. I got stuff. I got a home assignment. I got homework.
Yeah, and those are the big things coming up, and the NAMI organization is looking for people to join NAMI. Tori Ferris, I mentioned her name before. She's the president.
Yep.
She's a lawyer with Fletcher Falco Schauty's office, and also she grew up with a family member who had significant mental health issues, and she wants to do more to help other family members who kind of went through what she did, and at the time she didn't feel like there was a lot of support for her or her sisters in terms of community support and resources. And so that's what NAMI is all about, and so that's why she's very interested. And I'm going to bring her with me, I think, next time to your show.
So, we've talked about it a million times before, but the stigma of mental health, and people can have cancer and they'll tell everybody I got cancer. But mental health, they don't do that.
No, but they are starting to a little bit more, especially at the younger ages. Like, I think older folks are still, I'm not being discriminatory, but I just think it's the way that some of us grew up.
Raised.
You know, you just take care of
don't say
yourself,
anything.
and
Don't
you
say
know,
anything.
yeah, people might view that as a weakness.
Right.
And but I think younger people now, and since COVID, that's one of the good things from COVID. I think is that people are talking more freely about having anxiety and depression, things like that. I don't think a lot of people are shouting from the rooftops they have schizophrenia or those kinds of things. But same thing, nobody chooses those things. So if I told you I had schizophrenia, you should be just as supportive, I wish you would be, as if I said I had cancer. And we've talked about that.
Right.
Because you don't pick to have those things.
Right.
So
Right.
It happens. And so I think that, stigma, we think it still is the number one reason people don't seek services timely, but we think we think we're starting to impact it a little bit. So,
Speaking of services, you obviously have your main office in Port Huron.
Mm-hmm.
We're aware of the one in Marine City, but you're also in Yale.
no, KAC.
KAC.
We're in Cape. We used to a long time ago be in Yale, but KAC, Marine City, 2 offices in Marine City. The Broadway one will be opening soon. King Road is fully operational.
Every time I go by King Road, it's packed.
Yep. And then that's why we had to keep Broadway.
Yeah.
And then we have all children's services in the Port Huron area are in a building on 24th Street, not
Yes.
very far from our building, the main building that I'm at, which is 3111 Electric Avenue. That's our biggest building. And then I think that's all. Did I say? KAC, Children's, Marine City. I'm missing. Oh, ours. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 buildings.
Five.
Yeah.
And how big is your staff now?
Getting close to 500, like 470 or 470 something.
Marvelous. You're giving lots of service to lots of people.
And we hope that continues. But since COVID, since the emergency order ended, people have to reapply for Medicaid now. So the Medicaid enrollment numbers are steadily dropping. We're funded based on the number of people that are in Medicaid. So that could cause trouble. So one of the things we're telling everybody that we know, that we serve, if you have Medicaid, watch your mail, because when that redetermination comes through, if you need help, we'll help you, but you've got to file the paperwork again, or else they will cut you off, and it's a lot harder to get back on if you let that lapse. So we're there to help.
So it's similar to people that have Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's an annual kind of thing.
Yeah, like a re-enrollment.
Or any insurance company. And the Medicare is the same thing.
It's Medicaid. But they have to determine eligibility has to be established every year.
And now that I brought it up, Medicare is totally different than Medicaid.
Correct.
Similar services.
Yeah, and actually Medicare coverage is good on a lot of things too, but and we have people with Medicaid, Medicare. But once you turn a certain age, most people are eligible for Medicare coverage.
Right.
So yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you come.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
You're a bright, shiny light in the middle of cold winter December, January.
Thank you.
Deb Johnson's her name. She is the executive director of the St. Clair County Community Mental Health. She'll be back, and we will be too with our next guest in just a second. We're back with a friend by the name of Scott Atkins. Nice to see you, sir. You look well.
Thank you,
You
sir.
had the crud like everybody else has had.
Yeah, you're going to do it.
You recovered well. You look younger.
Well, thank you, Paul. I'll come see you anytime. Thanks.
I invited you to come in as the current city manager of the city of Marine City. Bring us up to date. You had a lot of things that went on in the fall. A lot of things are coming up in the spring. I just thought it was time to catch up. Things are happening.
Yeah, things are happening. We started jokingly by saying, get ready for more in 24 or expect more in 24. But really, there is just a flurry of activity going on, which is great for the city.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to be from the building blocks up because you got new projects that are just working their way through the process. Perhaps they still have to come in front of Planning Commission or in front of the City Commission, but a lot of interest in business, a lot of construction, residential construction, single family,
Good.
potential projects for some decent multifamily. So a lot of good things kind of on the stovetop now and getting ready to move maybe to the front burner. So I think we're going to have a busy year. It's starting off, we're 18 days or so into the year, and it's been busy every day. So it's a good thing, and it's a good sign for our community.
Well, you've got a new person on the commission. You've got people who are interested in what's going on in their community, and that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. Our new commissioner, he jumped right in, ready to go. I think his very first meeting, we put him on a committee already that night.
Good.
Somebody else would have run out the door, and he embraced it and has been active right out of the chute. The Chamber of Commerce has some new fresh faces, so they're looking at new projects, and they've got their Fire, Ice, and Spice Festival coming up here just in a matter of weeks already.
I got them coming in next week to this show to give us all the details on the Fire and Ice. And I got a public relations thing. They've just had some changes in their personnel. The new president and the new treasurer for the Chamber of Commerce. So good people are moving.
Yeah. It's a good time. And you go through these peaks and valleys, and I think that, we had a lot of things to iron out and kind of, look at in a new light, in a new direction, and we are, and we're making some great progress, and we're getting people who maybe have never been involved in the community that are getting involved, or people who hadn't been involved in a number of years coming back. But there's a lot of activity going on, and we've got a ton of city projects as well. So it's not just the business projects and things that the school district or the chamber might have. The city has a huge infrastructure project that is starting in 2024. It'll be a 2-year project.
Wow.
And it's a $26 million project for safe drinking water. So we're going to be replacing water mains and infrastructure over 2/3 of the city.
Whoa.
So we're talking pipes in the ground, we're talking roads, we're talking sidewalks.
Yeah, it would. Because if you
drainage.
tear up a road to put a new pipe in, you
Yeah.
got to replace that road, and that helped. It's a win-win.
It's a perfect scenario right now because it also allows us to take a new look at infrastructure planning for the roads that aren't going to be affected by the water project, that we can now develop a plan and a strategy to move forward so we can have a rolling set of projects to replace the other roads. So this is something that's really
That's great.
front page news for the city because it hasn't been done in a long time.
Yeah.
So we're looking at everything, parks, roads, water, sewer, just a very comprehensive project. And we're also mindful that we need to control the burden that goes on the taxpayers. So we're looking at financing this water project is a $26 million project with $13 million coming to us, 100% no strings attached.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Now,
It
how
never
do you
happens.
get 13 million with no strings?
You have to be lucky, I guess.
Well, you're right.
Really,
It
I
is
mean,
part of luck.
there were a number of communities, probably hundreds of communities in the state of Michigan that had applied for this funding, and not everybody was funded. As a matter of fact, the majority of the communities weren't funded at all. So we were fortunate to be able to be in the top criteria for funding. We had old, aging infrastructure, and out of this $26 million project, $13 million is 100% funded. The remaining $13 million is under a state-supported loan that can be spread out over 40 years at 2% interest,
2%.
which is unheard of.
Yes.
And we're working on ways to even reduce that obligation by restructuring some of our ordinances. And, again, it's to keep the burden as much as possible off the backs of the residents and the taxpayers, but get the job done.
So this is not necessarily a water plant. It's the infrastructure coming to the water plant.
To the water plant, but it does have significant components inside the plant. So
good.
Technology and refurbing and refinishing some of the infrastructure in the plant. So it is a very detailed and comprehensive project. And then, that bonus we talked about, streets, sidewalks, and other, facilities that's just added into it. But it's so necessary. We all want safe drinking water.
When does the shovel go in the ground?
So we expect the shovels probably won't go into the ground until late summer or fall. But what you will see is, and you can probably see it right now if you're driving through Marine City, there's a lot of nice little flags stuck in the ground of multiple colors. So all of the engineering, all of the underground staking is taking place right now. We're going to be going through shoring up the final plans, the design, the engineering. This will all be brought back in front of the commission to put the seal of approval on. And then that financing piece, again, bringing in specialists that are going to help us maximize those dollars that we're getting, especially those dollars that are state and federal dollars. That's not our direct contribution, but we are directly receiving a benefit.
So in a map of it, if I was looking from an airplane, is it in the north section, east section, west section, or is it all over town?
Here, there, everywhere.
Oh.
It's almost 2/3 of the city. So you do have portions that are taking place in the northern part of the city and then the southern part. Largely, the bigger problems are with the older infrastructure, so you'll see a lot of work in the older neighborhoods around the traditional downtown, Water Street, Elizabeth, those type of streets. But you're going to see projects that are going to be happening on Parker and off of King and throughout the city. So really, it's quite a detailed project. We have information on the city website already, and we'll be refreshing those maps. They're hard to see right now because they're smaller maps. Very colorful, so you'll see a lot of lines going across of work that's going to replace lines, tie the system together. We have certain portions of the system that aren't tied together. It's called looping. We're going to loop the system. That improves flow, water pressure. It's great for fire protection. Water quality, again, is the number one issue. We're going to be replacing a number of old lead and copper leads to people's homes that, under this program, we're able to take that cost on. That's not a cost that's going to be borne by the individual, which is a blessing.
That's amazing.
It's a blessing.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and so you've got some old infrastructure there that's probably from 70, 80, 90 years old?
And more.
And more.
Yeah, we have some that are pressing 100 years on the
Wow.
line. Now, they're not wooden
No.
that we know of, but that old iron, I mean, over the years, you can take, it was common to have a 4-inch water main back 100 years ago. Well, over the years, with that material breaking down, that could be a 2-inch or less line.
Wow.
So, everything is going to be replaced with new, in those areas. Again, about 2/3 of the city. So you're going to have, quality new lines going in, new leads to homes, and the infrastructure at the water plant, the latest technology.
When do you think it'll be done?
It should be done by the end of 25, possibly at the latest early of 26. You put in that little buffer in case the weather doesn't cooperate, or if there's a little glitch there. But it's going to be 2 solid years of work, and it'll be a phased approach. So we're going to make sure that we get the mapping and information out so people know which areas of the city are being impacted at what time. And during this, we're going to maintain water, so it's not that, hey, Mr. Dingman, you're going to be without water for a month while we hook this up. Here's a garden hose. We're going to maintain that and maintain the quality and the safety of the
Give you a
water.
portable shower for your front lawn. Speaking of your front lawn and people, what can the citizens do to help this project?
So number one is just be aware, it's very difficult to be able to contact every resident and let them know that, hey, the survey crew is going to be in your neighborhood this week. This week could get pushed to next week because of weather. Just be aware that you're going to see engineering trucks and city trucks. They all should be marked with proper decals on the side. And you're going to see folks out there, most of them are in reflective vests. They're going to be out measuring, staking. And then when we really get into construction, we'll have a very detailed map with time frames that'll say, okay, construction in this phase of the city will be from here to here. But right now, it's happening throughout the city. The surveying crews are out there trying to get as much done as they can right now. And that's the calls that we get mostly. Hey, there's some guy out here and he's spray painting in the roadway, or he's sticking flags in my yard. Please, leave those flags in the yard.
Give them a cup of coffee.
They're getting them in there where they can through the ground before it's completely frozen. But that's important for them to be able to identify where the other infrastructure, gas lines and phone and cable and utility lines are underneath the ground. So when they go in, we're not having problems disrupting those services. So,
you alluded to at the beginning of the show, new construction for homes. I know there's some new condos.
Yeah.
Sort of give me a...
So we really have a pretty good mix, Paul. We've got some new condos, some traditional single-family homes. We even have some discussions that have been had about possibly new duplexes.
Wow.
So 2 of the projects are underway right now. One has been approved and there is active construction going on. The second is working its way through the Planning Commission, and we now expect a third that'll be coming soon. Again, single-family homes. We also have proposed multifamily development that is going to be going to the Planning Commission. These are moderate or middle types of apartments, 1 and 2 bedrooms that are aimed towards maybe empty nesters or young professionals. So good quality development and different than what we've seen in the past. We've seen traditional, maybe 2-story apartment complexes that are vinyl sided, plain basic windows, maybe a tree here and a tree there. The city really has emphasized to these developers, we expect more. We want to see some brick in this. We want to see some different design. We want higher quality.
And you have that input.
So we're using a tool. A couple of years ago in 2019, the City Commission at the time was very future-sighted in putting an ordinance in place that's called planned development, which allows the city to basically guide a developer to follow that ordinance. And we get more out of that. We can identify where we want open space, we want connections for paths and enhanced sidewalks. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's important to educate residents that, so often it's, I don't want this in my backyard. And I understand that. We all have had to deal with this. But if we're going to have a development and it can build in the city because of zoning, then let the city take a step further and get more value added. And that's what we're looking at. We want something that's going to last over time, not falling apart 5 or 6 years, and future sighted. So we want to make sure we have space for a playground, for connections to paths, open space, additional landscaping, not just a tree or 2. What about other plantings? What about a parking lot that has flow and connectivity and something that looks like it belongs in the community, not something that just landed in the community. So there's a lot of work. Planning commissioners are working very hard. on making sure that this ordinance gets followed through as it was designed. And this is the first time that we've used this ordinance, excuse me, since it was put on the books. So it's going to be a great opportunity. And the developers normally are afraid of these things because it means it costs them more to build the project. The developers have embraced the fact that, you know, the city wants something higher quality because it's a return on their investment too. So,
Bridge to Bay has been a big hot topic for the county. You have had a lot of Bridge to Bay in Marine City already up and running. Is there any new parts of that?
yeah, there actually is. We were awarded a grant last year from the Michigan Department of Transportation, and it is to fill in the missing pieces.
Oh,
What
okay.
we're trying to do is the traditional Bridge to Bay that runs through Marine City, and so many people have used it, it kind of just takes you on the outskirts. Maybe you don't connect to Water Street. Maybe it doesn't connect to Parker, but it runs parallel to. Or you have a portion of it that's off of King. We're working on trying to connect those pieces so we can have local connections and we can connect the community together. And now we understand that some of the communities to the south of Marine City are looking at jumping on board and tying into the pathway.
Like Algonac
So,
and-
Algonac, Cotterville. You know, it's great that we now have that next piece. So you'll be able to go from St. Clair through East China into Marine City, then from Marine City hopefully right on down to Cotterville, Algonac, Clay, Ira, and beyond.
I always thought it was silly at the beginning, but man, you see people walking and riding their bikes and they're using it.
Yeah, all the time.
Especially in your area.
Today, you know, this morning it's snowing to beat the band, and here are people walking that path. You know, I mean, and we're not just talking 2 or 3 people. You know, a dozen or more that are out there at 7 in the morning walking this path, and it's all day long. And now we give them another connection, and this is great for the waterfront communities. You know, St. Clair, if you're in St. Clair and you can walk or jump on your bike and just a few miles down the road, it's great exercise. Stop in between, take the dog. There's a nice dog park down there too.
Wait a minute, you were supposed to be retired.
Yeah, well, you too, right?
No,
and here we are.
Yeah, well, we both love what we're doing.
Now, when you enjoy what you're doing and when you still have some gas left in the
Yes,
tank that you
yes.
can give back to the community.
You didn't have any last week.
Yeah,
you were out of gas last week.
I was running a little bit low, but you know, you're back on it. But Marine City is a great community, and if I can give a little bit of my experience to help them along, you know, just one little piece that's better when I leave than it was when I got there, then I feel like I've contributed. But it's all about serving the community, and it's all about just moving forward and to continue to move forward. So
Whenever you want to come to this venue, please do. We're always happy to have you come along and your smiling face and bring us up to date on what's happening in the beautiful Marine City.
I'm always happy to be here.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Happy January.
Thank you.
That's about it for this edition of the Focus program. Thanks very much for tuning in. Till next time. In fact, next week we'll have the Executive Director of the aforementioned Marine City Area Chamber of Commerce to talk about the Fire and Ice project, which is coming up real soon in Marine City. Till then, I'm Paul Dingeman. See you soon.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.